This may look like a regular apartment, and that's because it is. But what it represents is much greater. Let me turn back the clock a bit. Over the last year, I've been living in an environment that was not that great. The old apartment I lived in had a lot of issues. It had very little natural sunlight, which made it always feel like it was gloomy. The building itself was very old, and worst of all, there was a really bad bug problem inside my apartment. What I realized during this time is how hard it can be to grow as an individual when the environment around you is not up to par. I remember, for example, during the time I was living there, I'd have so many ideas of things I'd want to do. Things like doing yoga, record more videos, or have people over and do more social gatherings. All these things were activities that I'd be doing inside the apartment. But the environment itself was so just gloomy and depressing and kind of gross with the bugs and things like that, that I'd always be overcome with just anxiety and fear and not actually execute on any of those things, just because the environment around me was so unwelcoming. Now, it's important to have willpower and strength and push through these feelings. But one thing about, just using brute force all the time is it works in the beginning, but after a certain amount of time, just always having to force yourself and always having to just push through and be tough and use sheer willpower, eventually you'll burn out. And that's how I started to feel at the end of my time at that old place. And that's why when I moved here, I started to see how important a good environment is. So far it has been great. There's a lot of natural sunlight, great amenities within the apartment, whether it's a lounge where I can just have a change of pace to work at, activity rooms, or a pool, or a fitness center. Over the years, I've realized how beneficial a change of environment can be to success. For example, when I was looking to get a better job a little over a year ago, I decided to change my environment. I went from living with my parents at home with a safety net of even if I failed to get a better job or whatever, I would still be living with them. And so I never really felt that pressure. I went from that to just on a whim moving to a brand new city where I didn't know anybody and the cost of living was actually more expensive. So that change of environment really motivated me because I needed to get a new job. I didn't have that safety net anymore. And in just 4 or 5 months, I was able to get a much better job. And I don't know if that would have happened if I never made that change of environment and I was just sitting at home with my parents where there was that safety net and there's no fear of failure. Another thing is, a few years ago, I really wanted to improve my social skills, and I could have sat there just complained about how it's so hard to make friends now, that once you're out of college it's impossible to make friends, and how society, everybody's on their phone and nobody actually wants to go out and talk. But I decided again to change my environment. Rather than sitting at home and complaining and worried about what everybody else thought, I decided to start doing solo trips. And what that taught me was how important having good social skills are, because when you're solo traveling, either you have to have really good social skills and be able to talk to people and talk to strangers and build up friendships, or you're gonna be spending your whole trip by yourself, alone, and probably bored. And what I realized during that was how important social skills are. And I just used that, again, change of environment where you have no choice but to level up whatever you're trying to do when you change your environment. And now I just made another change, which is moving from my old place to my new place, a completely new environment. And I know this is gonna be the environment change that I needed to really level up myself and start working towards my 2026 goals. Rather than trying to force change all the time in your life, try to change the environment. This will make the change inevitable. At the end of the day, your environment shapes your habits and your habits shape you. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Have you guys recently changed environments and has it been positive for you guys? Let me know in the comment section below. Till next time, appreciate y'all for watching. I'm out. Peace.